Hey, I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, your pet's ally. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. And I am. I'm really kind of astonished. I think I finally actually fixed my gut. And the reason I know is that we went out to dinner and had something that there was just no getting around eating it without using tortillas. And so, lo and behold, I could eat corn tortillas. And not only did I not feel cruddy that night, I was completely fine the next day. So for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know this has been sort of what I've been working on for the last 5 years. So I am super happy about that. And I have to really thank the folks at Microbiome Labs for helping me get some direction on ways to get things fixed. And frankly, what I ended up doing was a lot of prep work with Mega Mucosa, a couple of their other products, and then finally I could start taking their probiotic, the MegaSpore, and then I went through another jar of Mega Mucosa, and it's just like, woohoo, we're finally here. So, and Hio is finally there too. So for her, MegaSpore Biotic actually works better than Phytospore does, and the reverse is true for some other pets. But so we all have happy bellies around here. So yee-haw. So I am going to pop over to the Facebook page so we can go through some questions. And we started posting up some of the photos of places we've been. This is in Guanajuato, which is the capital of the state of Guanajuato. And this was the blessing of the horses. And there had to have been well over 300 horses, which was just crazy. Um, we had just finished touring in this building, which is the Count Robe, who bizarrely enough was a port of the Bourbons. So evidently the French Napoleon had installed a president of France for a while, or president of Mexico, I should say, and that didn't last for very long. And then just some pictures around town. This is at a farmer's market in San Miguel de Allende, and you can see that, yep, pets are loved pretty much everywhere here. This is a really cool little botanical skincare pharmacy. And I just love this dog. This guy is playing violin here in the street, and his dog is just hanging out there with him. I mean, you can see he's got a leash on, but not standing on it. And he just hangs out with the dude all day. And then lastly, we were eating supper. This padre was waiting for a friend, and this dog came to him, and he just picked him up and held him like this. It was just lovely. So anyway, hope you enjoy that. Couple of new members, Kelly and Shelley, welcome. Hope that you are going to get lots of value out of this. So Zoe's asking if you have to peel the potatoes, and absolutely not. That's actually where a lot of the minerals and the good stuff that's in the potatoes live. So it's always much better to just put them in whole. And then the red skin potatoes seem to be most easy to digest and interestingly create um, resistant starch when they're cooled back down. So if you cook them in the crock pot and or roaster oven or whatever method you're using, and then once they cool down, this resistant starch actually helps to feed the good bugs in the gut. Let's see. And then Jody is asking about if this will fit into a 6-quart Instapot, and I don't think it quite will, but there's a ton. Again, if you, Hannah put this search up for you, but if you just hit this little search button here to search the group, you can type in kind of whatever you're looking for and see if somebody has answered that or not as yet. So I think that most people have had to divide it into 2 batches. And I think typically they're doing the meat and then maybe the starch first, and then going back to do the vegetables all in one. And then it just depends, what you're trying to accomplish. If you've got a big dog and you need to get it done in a hurry, the tabletop roaster oven is great, and then we used to use roaster pans in the oven itself, or just tabletop um, stock pot, or yeah, or on the cook. I shouldn't say tabletop, on the cooktop. Sorry. And Chrissy, I'm glad to hear that things were going so well in August, but if all of a sudden he stopped eating well and he has diarrhea, some things of that nature, then this makes me think that something has changed. And I think really the best step is to go to your vet um, and see what's going on. If the numbers were good in August for the kidney values, then probably this is something else happening. So get a stool sample tested for intestinal parasites, and also other things like a fecal PCR test will test for things like C. diff and other organisms that may not show up on a fecal test. And he may simply need to be dewormed as well. So I would definitely get that checked out. And then, as Chris said, if there's nothing else going on, sometimes an appetite stimulant can really help. But runny stool, I think you want to get that checked out. If they're not coming up with anything, then I would assume there's something going on as far as a microbiome imbalance, and that's where you'd want to kind of go down that pathway looking at probiotics and things of that nature. Um, and then Jamie's asking about the triple batch and forgot to put the calcium in. And yeah, so if you know how many containers and how much they weighed, then you can call that the whole batch and then divide the 2,000 milligrams of calcium over those however many numbers of ounces there are. So you got that straight, Jamie. Thanks. And yeah, I think Lisa's comment here is pretty funny. So no poaching of other members, but use vegetable broth if you do. So yeah, I think that's it. Let's pop over to the main page or to my question cheat sheet and make sure I've got everything covered. Karen's asking about, I think I missed these questions last time. So we talked about the Dogzymes Probiotic Max. And she's asking if it matters if the ingredients are cooked separately. And no, it's not a problem. The one thing I would recommend doing is using the calcium, and her other question is does it matter if the now calcium is not cooked? It doesn't matter. I think it's better to cook it with the brassica vegetables because it helps to take out those phytates and anti-nutrients. And does it matter if the garlic is raw? I think it's, if you've got it really well distributed through the batch, which would be hard to do with 1 clove of garlic, in that I think it's better to cook the garlic with the veggies so its energetic properties are distributed through the batch. And then does it matter if the ingredients are not blended? And no, it doesn't, as long as they're mixed up in some way, because you want to make sure that things are pretty well even through each meal. So, it just again depends on your pet's texture preference. And I think that not blending them up is, as far as like putting into a pate consistency, is not a problem. Raw vegetables are not so good because dogs actually, and cats certainly, lack cellulase, which is the enzyme that we use to break down the cell walls of veggies. And so if you feed a ton of raw veggies, you may find there's a huge problem because it comes out undigested. So I really do recommend cooking all of the vegetables. I know that the raw people will tell you that it destroys the enzymes and et cetera, et cetera. But for the volume of veggies that you're feeding in a crock pot, you really need to cook them, or else there will be so much that's undigestible that your dog won't get benefit from the veggies and their phytonutrients, and B, there could be some ugly side effects from that. So that's what I have for you this week. I hope that you all have a wonderful week, and we'll talk soon. So until next week, remember your pet's best health starts in the bowl.